What is a no-brainer credit card? Well, there are some cards where the proposition is just so good that it really makes no sense for you not to apply. Like if the card has no annual fee yet still earns 5% cash back on, say, grocery stores every month, like you really have nothing to lose by getting that card, as long as you can control your spending and not pay any interest. But that is an issue with all credit cards. So if you can control yourself with these 5 cards that I'm gonna show you in this video, you can really maximize the rewards you earn in the form of cashback and points. Hey credit warriors, welcome to the show. My name is Ben Hedges, aka the Credit Shifu, and on this channel I cover the US credit card market and how to earn cashback and points for free travel. If you like the sound of that, do subscribe. And this video is brought to you by Masterworks, but more on that later. Number 1, the Bilt Mastercard. So this card is an absolute no-brainer if you rent where you live, since it allows you to pay rent to any landlord with no transaction fee and earn 1 Bilt point per dollar spent on that payment. Those points can then be transferred to all of these airlines and hotels that you see on screen now at a 1-to-1 ratio. You can earn up to 100,000 points on rent payments each year, and you can make rent payments on 1 residential property per month. And actually, if you pay a mortgage, this card could also be for you, since they have already announced that they will be bringing in the capability to pay mortgage payments later this year, saying, "We'll announce the first phase of plans in the mortgage space. You'll soon be able to earn points on your mortgage payments." Then, in addition to rent and in the future mortgage payments, the card also earns 3 points per dollar on dining, 2 points per dollar on travel, and 1 point per dollar on everything else, including those rent payments. You must make 5 payments with the card each month to earn rewards, which I guess is just them making sure that you use it for a few other things than just your monthly rent, i.e. they do actually want it in your wallet. And then there's one more thing with this card, and that is rent day on the 1st of every month, where they double the rewards on everything except for rent. Yeah, I think that's weird too, right? It's called rent day, yet the bonus doesn't apply to rent. So that would be 6 points per dollar on dining and 4 points per dollar on travel. So you could have date night on the 1st of every month and earn a load of points. And then there's also their dining program too, where you can earn extra points on restaurants. So if you combine that with rent day, say you get 3 extra points from the dining program, and then you get 6 points on dining on rent day, then that's 9 points per dollar on your date with your significant other. So anyway, you have all these great advantages of the card, and then combine that with the fact that there's no annual fee, all right? 0. How good is that? And here's a little bonus tip from Reddit. If your credit limit allows it, a decent financial move here is to let that rent charge hit your card instead of directly debiting your account, while your cash sits in a HYSA, so you are earning at least a statement's worth of interest. Then a person replies, "What's an HYSA?" Okay, it means high yield savings account. So the idea is that when you pay your rent with a credit card, you'll have about a month or more to pay it off with no interest, okay, depending on where you are in the statement cycle. So in theory, you could keep 1 month's worth of rent sitting in a savings account at all times, earning interest. Now, there are accounts that pay around 4% right now. So if your rent was, say, $1,500 a month, that would be $60 a year earned in interest. And that's on top of the 1,500 Bilt points that you'd earn each month. So 18,000 Bilt points per year plus $60 for the year. So in my mind, all of that makes it a no-brainer, certainly for people who rent their homes, and hopefully soon for people paying mortgages as well. I can tell you for certain that if they come out with the same deal on paying mortgages as they have on rent, I will apply for this card straight away. If you want to know more about this card, I'll put a link down in the description below. All right, let's move on. Number 2, the Citi Custom Cash. So this one came out a few years ago, and this is a 5% category card like the Chase Freedom or Discover It cashback card. But 2 things about this card really make it a no-brainer in my opinion. One is that the categories don't rotate, okay? You just get 5% on your largest spend category each month, up to $500 in spend for the month. And 2 is that the categories you can earn 5% or 5x points in, because if you have the Citi Premier, you can transfer it over there and then you can transfer out to airlines and stuff. So it is 5x points or 5% cashback. But here are the categories. Check them out. Restaurants, gas stations, grocery stores, select travel, select transit, select streaming services, drugstores, home improvement stores, fitness clubs, and live entertainment. It's like they just thought, let's just write down every single major spend category that exists. With the first 5, restaurants, gas, grocery, travel, which is like airfare and hotels, and transit, which is like subways, taxis, Ubers. Those are the largest categories that most people have in their monthly budget, apart from things that normally you can't use a credit card for, okay, like rent, but then you have the Bilt card for that. So that's why I consider this card a no-brainer. It is so easy to get value out of it, and the cash back can also be converted to points, like we saw, potentially giving you more than 5% back per dollar. There's also a welcome bonus of $200 and no annual fee. All right, let's move on. But first, some experts say that credit cards are more important than ever for our spending. In fact, data suggests American credit card balances are 8% higher than they were last year, hitting a new record high of over 1.1 trillion US dollars. And no wonder when inflation is going down, but still sticking around and even getting worse for some goods. It can also be hard to make progress on saving when several top stocks can lose billions of dollars in a single day. Of course, the higher net worth individuals who wield credit cards like the financial tools that they are, they diversify their investments into all sorts of high value assets. Take fine art and collectibles, for example. It's estimated that high net worth individuals across the globe hold over $2.2 trillion in these assets. That's double the 1.1 trillion in American credit card balances that I just mentioned. But why do we care? Because according to a 2023 Deloitte study, the wealth behind fine art and collectibles is projected to hit almost $2.9 trillion in 2026, leaving room for potential upside that we can take advantage of. That's why I think you should check out today's sponsor, Masterworks, while you're still early to the scene. Now, I know I'm the credit card guy, right? Not an art expert, but that's the point. Masterworks make art investing accessible for all kinds of people without needing millions of dollars to diversify into these incredible assets for a slice of their portfolios. In fact, Masterworks has over $1 billion of invested capital from over 60,000 active investors across their over 450 offerings, with previous offerings featuring legendary artists like Picasso, Basquiat, and Banksy. And from Masterworks' 23 sales so far, investors have realized annual net returns like 17.6%, 17.8%, and 21.5% from assets held for 1 year, not including unsold works. I can tell you just from going to the site, sometimes new Masterworks offerings can sell out quickly. Luckily, with my link in the description below or at masterworks.art/Ben Hedges, you can get special access right away. Number 3, the Capital One Venture X. Now, there are two things about this card that really stand out to me. First is that it is probably the cheapest way to get a card that offers full airport lounge access through two programs, Priority Pass and the bank's own lounge network. They used to offer Plaza Premium lounges as well, but so many of those lounges have rejoined Priority Pass that Capital One decided to drop them. You can still access around 60 of them through Priority Pass. Then we also mentioned the bank's own network of lounges, which are Capital One lounges, and the new Capital One landings, which are food-focused lounges. Capital One currently has 4 lounges, with 3 more coming soon. And what does it cost per year? Well, the annual fee is $395, but then we have a $300 travel credit for Capital One Travel, and in the first year, a $120 global entry credit. Well, I say for the first year, it's every 4 years. I just assume you'll use it in the first year. So those two things combined, you're up $25 in your first year. Then there's also the 75,000 mile welcome bonus. Let's use the absolute minimum value for that of 1 cent per mile, which would make it worth $750. So you're now up $775 in your first year. But then after that, every anniversary, Capital One gives you 10,000 miles when you renew. Those miles, if we use it absolute minimum value of 1 cent per mile, that'd be $100 in value. So when you add that to the travel credit of $300, that's going to be $400 in value. Deduct the annual fee of $395, and Capital One is paying you $5 every year for having the card. Plus, you get all the benefits like lounge access, etc. I don't know of any other card that gives unlimited lounge access for that price. All right, now for the second reason, and that is that it is a great catch-all card for non-category spend. The card earns 2 miles per dollar on all spend. Then we also have a 5x and a 10x category for Capital One Travel, but I'm guessing that isn't going to get used that much, so really the 2x catch-all is kind of my focus. People often get cards like the Citi Double Cash or the Amex Blue Business Plus to be their catch-all cards, but with this one, you get 2 in 1. You get your premium travel card for lounge access, global entry, etc., and then it doubles as your catch-all non-category spend card. A no-brainer, in my opinion. I don't currently have this card, but it is definitely one that I will consider getting in the future. Number 4, the Amazon Prime Visa Signature Card. Let me ask you a question. Do you pay for Amazon Prime? If you replied yes, and probably 75% of you did because there are 180 million Prime members in the US. If you replied yes, then this card is an absolute no-brainer for you. Like, there is no downside to getting it, since if you have Prime, there's no annual fee and it gives you 5% back on everything on Amazon and at Whole Foods. And it also has a load of 2% cashback categories as well. And sometimes there are even deals for 10% back on certain select Amazon products. Personally, I do have this card and I've never physically used it. When I first got it, I entered it as a payment method in my Amazon account and I've not seen the physical card since. Like, it's probably lost. If you find it laying on the ground somewhere on the street, please don't use it. Anyway, this is a card I would thoroughly recommend, since 5% is kind of the golden number that we want to aim towards in all categories. If you are a big Amazon spender, like me, like my wife really, then this gives you that magic number on a very big spend category. Okay, moving on to our final no-brainer card. Number 5, the Amex Gold. So the Amex Gold has long been a favorite of mine. That is because it earns 4 points per dollar at US supermarkets and on dining worldwide. Supermarket spending is limited to $25,000 per year and dining is limited to $50,000 in purchases per year, which I've personally never had any chance of hitting. In past years, I've done the "Is the Amex Gold still worth it?" videos, and in my one for 2024, which looked at my spending in 2023, I showed that I'd earned 37,000 points at restaurants and 19,000 points at supermarkets in 2023. If we value those points at 2 cents per point, which is the average value you get when transferring out to airlines, that's going to be $1,120 in value, which totally eclipses the annual fee even before I've used any of the card's credits. So what is the annual fee and how do you offset it with credits? Well, it was recently raised to $325, that was last year, but then you have the $120 Uber credit, that's $10 per month, which I use for Uber Eats. You have an $84 Dunkin' Donuts credit, or actually they just call it Dunkin' now, $7 per month, which I use for takeout coffee. And then there is a $100 Resi credit, which is $50 every 6 months. And so far, I have found ways to use that. I didn't think I would, but I have. And then there's a $120 dining credit valid at loads of places, including Grubhub and Five Guys, and it's split to $10 per month. That's the only one I haven't really maximized, although with Grubhub on there, most restaurants are on Grubhub, and my office now is in a larger town, all right? I used to film at home, a bit further out in the countryside, but now I'm in a medium-sized town, and there's a lot of restaurants and a lot of opportunities to use Grubhub for, say, a takeout lunch at the office. If you max out all the credits, that's $424 in value, deduct the annual fee of $325, and you're left with Amex paying you $99 per year to keep the card open. Obviously, your mileage may vary depending on how much you can use those credits. Last time I used the dining credit, it was at Dinosaur Barbecue in Troy, New York, and I was like, oh wow, this restaurant's on Resi. Guys, I have a credit for that, and I just went and treated 2 of my friends to a meal. So I didn't really get the value back unless you assume that I would have paid the check for them anyway, which I wouldn't. But with that said, the reason I call this a no-brainer card is that it gets you very close to that 5x magic number on 2 huge categories that are active on the card all the time, all right? They don't rotate, and they basically have no upper limit that an average person would realistically be able to hit, all right? If you maxed out both dining and supermarkets, that would be $75,000 in spending per year on the card. That's more than the average salary in the US. I've had this card since 2018, and still in 2025, I call this probably the most important card in my wallet. And unless they do some really stupid refresh, like a McDonald's credit to offset a $500 annual fee or something, I will still keep this card and recommend everyone else to get it. Unless you're a robot who doesn't eat or drink.
I hate this. It is revolting.
Because in that case, you wouldn't earn any points. All right, guys, that is the video. I hope you like the selection. I think if you get any of these cards, you really can't go wrong, and you'll end up earning loads of points to use towards free travel, or in the case of the Amazon card, loads of cashback with minimal annual fees. And don't forget to get special access to Masterworks at masterworks.art/Ben Hedges, or click my link down in the description to start investing in contemporary fine art like the billionaires do. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.